Brilliance Audio presents In the Name of Truth by Viveca Sten, translated by Marlene DeLargy, performed by Angela Daw. The children were asleep. The sun hadn't yet risen above the grass surrounding the red cabins, and the dew still sparkled on the dinghies that had been lifted out of the water. Every cabin contained 2 dormitories, and each dormitory housed 8 children. He'd waited while behind a tree, but now he pulled down his cap and looked around. It was getting lighter very quickly, and the birds were singing more and more loudly. He moved closer. The window of the nearest cabin was ajar. He examined the door carefully. It didn't appear to be locked. He couldn't see a catch in the gap between the door and the frame. He turned his head and scanned the area. The instructor's accommodation was a few hundred yards away, among the pine trees. They'd stayed up late. It had been after midnight when the lights in their cabin finally went out. It would take no more than a moment. He knew exactly what he was going to do.
Don't look so miserable, Benjamin.
Dufva tried to smile encouragingly at her son.
Plenty of kids would be delighted to have the chance to go to sailing camp.
Benjamin didn't answer. He was sitting on the bed with his head down, staring at his phone. A faint electronic melody came from the game he was playing.
I'm sure you'll soon make new friends. Maybe some of your classmates will be there?
Benjamin glanced up.
Do I have to go?
His voice lacked conviction. He would never refuse to comply with his father's wishes. Ursa sighed.
Don't forget to brush your teeth after breakfast and before you go to bed when you're away, she said, folding one last sweater.
No response.
Did you hear what I said?
Benjamin looked up from his phone.
I'll be the smallest one there. All the others will be older than me.
This was true. He would probably be the youngest, and he was shorter than most of the others in his class at school. That was another way in which he differed from his father, who was tall and broad-shouldered. Ursa sat down on the bed next to Benjamin. He had his back to the wall, knees drawn up. His light brown hair had fallen over his forehead, but Ursa knew she had to resist the temptation to push it back, which would annoy him. Without meeting her gaze, he went on.
I don't know how to sail.
Well, that's why you're going to the camp, so you can learn.
Ursa did her best to sound positive, but it was a real struggle. If it had been left to her, she and Benjamin would have been going to stay with Grandma and Grandpa in Småland, as they always did in the week leading up to midsummer. The camp was all Christian's idea, but it wouldn't help Benjamin if she made a sarcastic comment about his father's belief that he could buy his way out of his responsibilities.
It's only a week, sweetheart. It'll soon pass. You know, Dad really wants you to go.
She couldn't resist ruffling his hair, but of course he pulled away. She had to finish packing so that she could get started on dinner. Christian was due to collect Benjamin at 7:30 in the morning, and she was tired after a long shift at the hospital. As usual, there had been too few midwives to cope with what was expected of them. She got to her feet and took a pair of pajamas from the top drawer. They were made of pale blue flannel. The fabric was soft and smooth beneath her fingertips. The knot of anxiety in her stomach grew. Christian had insisted on sending Benjamin to camp, but she was the one who had to console their son. Christian wasn't worrying about whether Benjamin would get upset or homesick.
It'll be fine,
she said, wondering whether she was trying to reassure herself or Benjamin.
You're going to have so much fun.